ESLpod.com presents Business Meetings, a special 10-episode course to teach you business vocabulary in English. I'm Dr. Jeff McQuillan from the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California, and I'll be the host for this series. In this course, you'll learn vocabulary for formal and informal business meetings. Each lesson has 3 parts. First, we will read a story or a dialogue slowly. Second, we will give an explanation of what happened in the meeting and the vocabulary used. And third, we'll repeat the dialogue or story at a normal speed for native speakers. Each lesson will have both a formal and an informal meeting, so you can hear the differences between, for example, a more formal meeting with your boss or the head of the company, and a more informal meeting with your coworkers or fellow employees. The lesson will begin with the formal meeting first, followed by the informal meeting dialogue or story. Are you ready? Let's begin with Lesson 1, Starting a Meeting.
On behalf of Vision Corporation, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of some of the key players in our company, our top managers. Our purpose this morning is to hear a presentation about a new initiative for outreach and marketing, and to discuss this plan with all of you. This is a presentation that all of us have looked forward to. This initiative marks a new milestone in the evolution of our company. First, it serves as an assessment of where our company is now in terms of communicating its message to its customers domestically and abroad. Furthermore, this plan has the potential to drive our company forward by transforming our corporate outreach and marketing strategies. We are delighted that all of the major contributors to this initiative are here today. They will use their unique perspectives to talk about the current state of affairs in terms of outreach and marketing, give details about the new proposed initiative, and outline the path for implementation.
Our script begins with Alex of the Vision Corporation calling the meeting to order. To call a meeting to order, O-R-D-E-R, means to officially begin the meeting. Alex says that it is a meeting of the key, K-E-Y, players, or the people who have the most important positions or roles. He says that the purpose of the meeting, or the reason that everyone is meeting, is to hear a presentation about a new initiative, I-N-I-T-I-A-T-I-V-E, which is a new idea for a project or program, especially at work. This particular initiative is for outreach, O-U-T-R-E-A-C-H, which means communicating with people who aren't involved with the company, and marketing, M-A-R-K-E-T-I-N-G, which means telling people about the company's products and trying to increase sales. He says that everyone has looked forward to the presentation. When we say that everyone looks forward to a meeting or presentation, we mean that they have been excited about the presentation for a long time and are eager and happy to hear it today. They want to hear about it. Then Alex says that the initiative marks, M-A-R-K-S, a new milestone, M-I-L-E-S-T-O-N-E. To mark means to note when something happens. We are going to mark our anniversary by having a party. To mark is to note, to indicate to others. A milestone is an important achievement on the way to meeting a bigger goal. It's one small step in a larger project. A milestone for you might be getting a driver's license, graduating from college, or passing the TOEFL exam. Or a milestone could be different sections of a big project. Alex says that the presentation serves as an assessment, A-S-S-E-S-S-M-E-N-T, or measurement of where the company is now, in terms of communicating its message. The phrase in terms, T-E-R-M-S, of, usually means with regard to or regarding. For example, Alex could have said, in terms of sales, or in terms of our employees' qualifications, instead of in terms of communicating its message. He then says, furthermore, this plan has the potential to drive our company forward. The word furthermore, F-U-R-T-H-E-R-M-O-R-E, is used to present a new idea that builds on whatever was said before. You could say in addition here as well. To drive something forward means to help something become better or move into the future. When Alex talks about transforming corporate outreach and marketing strategies, he means changing the outreach and marketing in a big or important way. To transform means to change, to make different. Next, Alex says he is delighted that the major contributors are at the meeting and says that they will use their unique perspectives, P-E-R-S-P-E-C-T-I-V-E-S, or points of view, opinions, or ideas, to talk about the current state of affairs. The current state of affairs, A-F-F-A-I-R-S, is just a fancy way to say the way things are today, or the current status of something. The current state of affairs is what is going on now, at this time. A little later, Alex says that the participants will outline, O-U-T-L-I-N-E, the path for implementation, meaning that they will briefly describe the main points or main ideas about implementation. To implement means to carry out, to do something. Now let's listen to the beginning of the formal meeting again, this time at a normal speed.
On behalf of Vision Corporation, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of some of the key players in our company, our top managers. Our purpose this morning is to hear a presentation about a new initiative for outreach and marketing and to discuss this plan with all of you. This is a presentation that all of us have looked forward to. This initiative marks a new milestone in the evolution of our company. First, it serves as an assessment of where our company is now in terms of communicating its message to its customers domestically and abroad. Furthermore, this plan has the potential to drive our company forward by transforming our corporate outreach and marketing strategies. We are delighted that all of the major contributors to this initiative are here today. They will use their unique perspectives to talk about the current state of affairs in terms of outreach and marketing, give details about the new proposed initiative, and outline the path for implementation.
Hopefully, you now have a better understanding of the formal meeting. In the informal meeting, Alex is much more casual and relaxed. Let's listen.
Okay, everybody, please take a seat. Let's get started. I've called this meeting of our top salespeople so that all of you get a chance to hear about the new plan to get our company out there in order to reach more of our potential market. First, we'll hear a presentation from the team that has been working on this. Then, we'll discuss it to get your feedback and put our heads together to see if there are any other ideas. While the team is getting set up, let me say a few words. What does this new plan mean for our company? First, it's a reality check on where we are right now in terms of getting our message to our customers. Second, this plan has the potential to move the company forward. One of our main challenges, as you all know, is staying relevant in this changing market. Today's presentation has some really innovative ideas about how we can do this.
Alex begins by asking everyone to take a seat, S-E-A-T, which is an informal way of asking people to sit down in their chairs. He calls the meeting to order. He gets it started by saying that this meeting is to hear about a new plan to get the company out there. The phrase "to get something out there" means to make something more familiar to the public. For example, a new website always wants to get its message out there so that people learn about it and begin to visit it. To get out there can mean to get noticed by other people. Alex says that doing so will help the company reach more of its potential market. Potential, P-O-T-E-N-T-I-A-L, here means possible. So the potential market is a group of people who do not buy the product right now, but would probably or possibly be interested in it. You can also use potential as a noun, such as, he's got great potential, meaning he has great possibilities. He will do great things in the future. Alex explains that after the presentation, there will be a discussion to get people's feedback, F-E-E-D-B-A-C-K, or positive and negative reactions about what they just heard. Then they will put their heads together to see if there are any other ideas. The phrase "to put our heads together" means to work as a group to think of new ideas about something. For example, Lucy and I always put our heads together to think of ideas for new and interesting ESL podcasts. Alex says that he wants to say a few words while the team is getting set up or getting ready to give the presentation. This means that he wants to speak about something for a short period of time, maybe a few minutes. Sometimes at a meeting, we ask someone to stand up and say a few words, meaning to talk to the whole group for a few minutes about some topic. Alex says that the new plan means 3 things for the company. First, it's a reality check. Reality, R-E-A-L-I-T-Y, is another word for what is real, what is actually happening. A check, C-H-E-C-K, here means a look at or an examination of something to see how you are doing, how much progress you've made. So a reality check is a realistic look at the true facts of a situation, something that will tell you how you are doing. In this case, the reality check is about how well the company is communicating with its customers. Second, he says that the plan can help move the company forward by helping it stay relevant. R-E-L-E-V-A-N-T, meaning important or related to the current situation, even though the market is changing. Because the market is changing, the company has to make sure it is doing what their customers want or expect from them. We also use this word relevant to mean related to something, related to the current situation. The opposite would be irrelevant. If someone says that this is irrelevant, they mean it is not related to or connected to the current situation or idea. Alex finishes by saying that the presentation has many innovative, I-N-N-O-V-A-T-I-V-E, ideas. Innovative means new, something that hasn't been done before. So innovative ideas are ideas that are new, creative, and interesting. Now let's listen to the informal meeting again, this time at a native rate of speech.
Okay, everybody, please take a seat. Let's get started. I've called this meeting of our top salespeople so that all of you get a chance to hear about the new plan to get our company out there in order to reach more of our potential market. First, we'll hear a presentation from the team that has been working on this. Then we'll discuss it to get your feedback and put our heads together to see if there are any other ideas. While the team is getting set up, let me say a few words. What does this new plan mean for our company? First, it's a reality check on where we are right now in terms of getting our message to our customers. Second, this plan has the potential to move the company forward. One of our main challenges, as you all know, is staying relevant in this changing market. Today's presentation has some really innovative ideas about how we can do this.
In this lesson, we learned about starting or calling to order a business meeting, both a formal meeting and an informal one. In the next lesson, you'll learn about introducing the participants at a meeting. This course has been a production of the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Visit our website at eslpod.com. This course was produced by Dr. Jeff McQuillan and Dr. Lucy Say. Copyright 2007. Welcome to eslpod.com's Business Meetings course. I'm your host, Dr. Jeff McQuillan, from the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California. In the first lesson of business meetings, we learned business vocabulary for starting formal and informal business meetings. In this second lesson, we're going to learn how to introduce the participants, the people who are at the meeting. Let's get started by listening to the formal meeting.
Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce the participants who have graciously agreed to share their time with us today. I believe that all of you already know me, Alex Aurora, the CEO of Vision Corporation. On my immediate right is Ms. Hannah Graff, the account representative from our marketing consulting firm. She has been a visionary leader in coordinating the focus groups and helping us identify our target market. On my far right, the gentleman in the gray suit is Mr. Chris Banda, who is the Senior Vice President of Product Development. Over the past few months, he has shown great flexibility and willingness to adapt his product features to better meet our customers' needs. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce our Senior Vice President of Marketing, Mr. Sean Edwards. He has been coordinating our marketing efforts for the past 7 years, and his hard work is culminating in today's presentation. With that, I'll turn it over to our Senior Vice President of Marketing, Sean Edwards, who will lead the proceedings today. Thank you to all of you for being here, and welcome.
Alex starts by saying, "Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce the participants." To take a moment means to do something for a short period of time, or to pause or interrupt something for a short time. In this case, he is delaying the beginning of the meeting because he wants to introduce the participants first. For example, you might take a moment to put on your jacket before you go outside. Alex says that the participants have graciously agreed to share their time with us. The word graciously, Graciously, means generously, kindly, or very thoughtfully. If someone graciously accepts an invitation, It means that he or she did so very kindly and politely. Then Alex introduces himself as the CEO of Vision Corporation. CEO means Chief Executive Officer. This is the person who leads a business, like a president, but more important. Some other titles you may hear related to leaders in a company are CIO, which stands for or means Chief Information Officer, and CFO, which is the Chief Financial Officer. Then Alex begins introducing the other participants. He says that on his immediate right is Ms. Hannah Graff. To say that she is on his immediate, IMMEDIATE, right, means that she is right next to him on his right-hand side. And note that Alex uses Hannah's title, Ms., because this is a formal meeting. Ms. is the most common title for a woman, whether she is married or not. You won't hear Mrs. or Miss as much anymore in formal business meetings. In the informal meeting, you'll see that people call each other by their first names. Alex says that Hannah has been a visionary leader in coordinating the focus groups. A visionary, VISIONARY, leader, is someone who has many new, creative, and intelligent ideas. Visionary comes from the word vision, which means a plan for the future. Visionaries usually refer to people who are very creative. Visionaries today might be thinking about flying cars or space travel. A focus group is a small group of people who are asked to give their opinions about a product or a topic. Market research companies often ask focus groups for their opinions about new products or advertisements before they start selling or using them. This company is using focus groups to learn why its sales are falling. Alex says that in addition to coordinating the focus groups, Hannah has been helping the company identify its target market. TARGET MARKET, which is the group of people that a company wants to sell its product to, usually with the same sex, race, education, and economic status. The target market for dolls is young girls, and the target market for paint might be people who own their homes. Next, Alex says that on his far right, the gentleman in the gray suit is Mr. Chris Banda. Being on the far right means that Chris is on Alex's right-hand side, but further away from him, not right next to him, because that's where Hannah is. Far means distant, not near. That's why we sometimes say that something is far away, meaning it isn't close to us. Alex calls Chris a gentleman, which is a polite and respectful word for a man. You have probably heard speeches that begin with "ladies and gentlemen," because that is a polite way to address the audience. Alex says that Chris has shown great flexibility and willingness. Flexibility, F-L-E-X-I-B-I-L-I-T-Y, is the ability to adapt or adjust quickly to changes or new situations. Someone who knows that gas prices are going up and decides to use an electric car instead shows a lot of flexibility. Willingness, W-I-L-L-I-N-G-N-E-S-S, means that someone is ready or prepared to do something. For example, a person is more likely to get a job in international business if he or she has a willingness to travel a lot. Chris has shown flexibility and willingness to adapt his product features to better meet the customer's needs. A feature is a characteristic. A product feature is something that a product has or does. For example, product features for a computer include its memory, screen size, if it's a laptop, and speed. Next, Alex says that last but not least, he'd like to introduce Sean. Last but not least is a phrase used to talk about the last person or thing in a group, meaning that it is not less important, however, than the other people or things that were already mentioned. In this case, Alex has already introduced Hannah and Chris. By saying last but not least, he's telling people that even though Sean is the third and last person to be introduced, he is not the least important. Alex says that Sean has been coordinating the marketing efforts. The verb to coordinate means to organize and lead something. In other words, Sean is in charge of the marketing efforts. You might be responsible for coordinating a party or a meeting. Finally, Alex says that Sean's hard work during the past 7 years is culminating in today's presentation. The verb to culminate, C-U-L-M-I-N-A-T-E, means to reach the highest point in the development of something, or to finish something with a specific result. Sean's 7 years of hard work have led up to this presentation, which is the final result of his work. One might say that years of a runner's training culminate in winning a race. Alex ends the introductions by saying, "With that, I'll turn it over to Sean." The phrase "with that" is used to show that one part of something has ended and now it is time to move to the next part. Alex is using the phrase to let people know that the introductions have finished and now it is Sean's turn to speak. A student might say, I've just finished 2 papers, and with that, I'm ready for summer vacation. This means that the student has finished the last 2 papers for the semester, and now the semester has ended and the student can enjoy their vacation. When Alex says that he'll turn it over to Sean, he means he's going to put Sean in control of something. In this case, Sean is going to be in control of the next part of the presentation. If someone has too much work to do, he or she might turn a project over to a coworker so that someone else can do part of the work. Alex says that Sean will lead the proceedings today. To lead, L-E-A-D, the proceedings, P-R-O-C-E-E-D-I-N-G-S, means to run a meeting or guide a discussion. Now that we have reviewed the new vocabulary, let's listen to the formal meeting again, this time at a normal rate of speech.
Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce the participants who have graciously agreed to share their time with us today. I believe that all of you already know me, Alex Aurora, the CEO of Vision Corporation. On my immediate right is Ms. Hannah Graff, the account representative from our marketing consulting firm. She has been a visionary leader in coordinating the focus groups and helping us identify our target market. On my far right, the gentleman in the gray suit is Mr. Chris Banda, who is the Senior Vice President of Product Development. Over the past few months, he has shown great flexibility and willingness to adapt his product features to better meet our customers' needs. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce our Senior Vice President of Marketing, Mr. Sean Edwards. He has been coordinating our marketing efforts for the past 7 years, and his hard work is culminating in today's presentation. With that, I'll turn it over to our Senior Vice President of Marketing, Sean Edwards, who will lead the proceedings today. Thank you to all of you for being here, and welcome.
Now that we have a better understanding of the formal meeting, let's listen to the same introductions at an informal meeting. In the formal meeting, Alex introduced all the other participants. In the informal meeting, you'll see that everyone is much more relaxed as the participants introduce themselves, using each other's first names.
Before we dive into the presentation, I should probably start by saying that I'm Alex Aurora, the CEO of Vision Corporation, just in case there's anyone here who hasn't met me in person before today. Could I please get our key team members to introduce themselves? Hannah, why don't we start with you?
Sure. I'm Hannah Graff, an account representative from the marketing firm that has been doing the focus groups. Today, I'll be talking about your target market. It's my pleasure to join all of you today.
I'm Christopher Hansen, the Senior Vice President of Product Development. I've been tweaking our product so that it's a better fit for what our customers are looking for.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Edwards, Senior VP of Marketing. I've spent the past few months trying to keep up with all the great work that Hannah and Chris have been doing.
Great. Thanks. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sean, who will be running the show today.
Alex starts by saying, before we dive into the presentation, I should probably start by saying that I'm Alex Aurora. To dive into something means to begin something right away. So when Alex says, before we dive into the presentation, he means before we begin the presentation. If you are excited about a project, you probably want to dive into it right away. Alex introduces himself as the CEO, or Chief Executive Officer, of Vision Corporation, just in case there's anyone here who hasn't met me in person before today. The phrase "just in case" means if something may happen or if something is possible. Someone might decide to buy groceries for the entire week, just in case they don't have time to go shopping later in the week. Alex believes that most or all of the participants already know him, but just in case there is someone who hasn't met him in person, he wants to introduce himself. To meet someone in person means to be introduced to someone while being in the same room, so that the two people see each other. If you're introduced to someone over the phone or email, you haven't met in person. Alex then asks each of the team members to introduce themselves, and he says, "Hannah, why don't we start with you?" The phrase, "why don't we?" is a polite phrase that means let us do this, and is used to suggest doing something. For example, why don't we listen to that podcast again? Or why don't we go to the movies tonight? You're not really asking why we are not going to the movies. Instead, you're suggesting that we go to the movies. Hannah introduces herself as an account representative, which is an employee at a consulting company in charge of a project for a company using the consulting company's services. Hannah doesn't work for Vision Corporation. Vision Corporation hired a consulting company to help them with their market research, and Hannah is the account representative, or the person who works for the consulting company and is assigned to the Vision Corporation project. Hannah says that she has been working with the focus groups, the people who give their opinion about Vision Corporation's product, and that today she'll be talking about the target market, or the group of people that Vision Corporation is trying to sell its product to, the target market. Next, Chris introduces himself as the Senior VP, or Vice President, of Product Development. Product development is the work of creating and improving the products that a company sells. In the computer industry, for example, product development is about making computers smaller and faster. In the clothing industry, product development is about making new styles with a lot of fashion. Chris says that he has been tweaking the product so that it's a better fit for what customers are looking for. To tweak, T-W-E-A-K, means to make small changes to something. We often tweak the wording in these courses to try to make the definitions more accurate and easier to understand. Finally, Sean introduces himself and says that he has spent the last few months trying to keep up with all the great work that Hannah and Chris have been doing. To keep up with something means to be familiar with all the latest changes in something, or to keep up to date with something. Sean means that he has been trying to follow all of the work that Hannah and Chris are doing so that he knows what's going on. You might try to keep up with the news or to keep up with changes in technology. At the end of the meeting, Alex says he's going to turn it over to Sean, who will be running the show today. To run the show means to be in charge of something or to lead a project or meeting. If you go to a disorganized event and you want to speak with the organizer, you might ask, "Who's running the show here?" to find out who's in charge. We reviewed all the vocabulary in the informal meeting, so now let's listen to it again, this time at a normal speed.
Before we dive into the presentation, I should probably start by saying that I'm Alex Aurora, the CEO of Vision Corporation, just in case there's anyone here who hasn't met me in person before today. Could I please get our key team members to introduce themselves? Hannah, why don't we start with you?
Sure. I'm Hannah Graff, an account representative from the marketing firm that has been doing the focus groups. Today I'll be talking about your target market. It's my pleasure to join all of you today.
I'm Christopher Hansen, the Senior Vice President of Product Development. I've been tweaking our product so that it's a better fit for what our customers are looking for.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Edwards, Senior VP of Marketing. I've spent the past few months trying to keep up with all the great work that Hannah and Chris have been doing.
Great, thanks. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sean, who will be running the show today.
I hope this has helped you become more familiar with the business vocabulary used to introduce participants at formal and informal business meetings. In our next lesson, we're going to look at how people begin meetings and how they let people know what's going to be discussed. This course has been a production of the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Visit our website at eslpod.com. This course was produced by Dr. Jeff McQuillan and Dr. Lucy Say. Copyright 2007. Welcome to eslpod.com's Business Meetings course, Lesson 3. I'm your host, Dr. Jeff McQuillan, coming to you from the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California. In the second lesson of Business Meetings, we learned business vocabulary for introducing the participants at formal and informal business meetings. Now, in this third lesson, we're going to learn how to begin a presentation and let people know what's going to be discussed. Let's begin by listening to the formal meeting. Thank you, Alex. And thank you to everyone who is here today. As you know, today's presentation is designed to present our recommendations about how Vision Corporation can increase its market share by reaching more of its potential market. You should each have a copy of our handouts in front of you that correspond to the slides up here on the screen. This first slide shows our agenda for the day. First, I will begin with an overview of how our market share has been declining during the past 12 months and the reasons for that decline. Then, Ms. Graff will present the data that she gathered from the focus groups and her ideas for clarifying our target market. She will be followed by Mr. Hansen, who will discuss adapting our product to meet market needs, and he'll conclude with our main recommendations. Since we have limited time today, please hold your questions until the end of the presentation. Sean begins by thanking the people for coming to hear his presentation. He says that today's presentation is designed to present our recommendations. To be designed to do something means to be made or created for a specific purpose. The ESL podcasts, for example, are designed to help you learn English. In this case, the presentation is designed to present recommendations. A recommendation, recommendation, is a suggestion, an opinion, or advice about what someone should do. A doctor's recommendation might be for you to stop smoking, or a teacher's recommendation might be for you to study more. Sean's recommendations are about how Vision Corporation can increase its market share by reaching more of its potential market, or the people who don't buy the product now but might be interested in it. So Sean is going to make suggestions about how Vision Corporation can raise or increase, make larger, its market share by reaching or getting to more of its potential market. Market share is the percentage of sales that a company has in a specific market or specific area or group of people. For example, Chinese companies have a large market share of the clothing sold in the United States. A lot of the clothing sold in the United States is made in China. So Chinese companies have a large market share, a large percentage of these clothes sold here. Companies want to increase their market share by getting more customers to buy their products. And that's what Sean's presentation is about. Sean says that each person should have a copy of the handouts, handouts. A handout is a piece of paper that is given to people in the audience, people who are listening to the presentation, during a presentation, so that they have more information. It's a piece of paper that has usually information related to the presentation that you give people who are listening. Having handouts means that you don't have to spend as much time writing down notes as you're listening, because the information is already there on a piece of paper. Sean says that the handouts correspond to the slides on the screen. To correspond to something means to match up with something or to be related to something. The amount of homework you have probably corresponds to the number of classes you're taking, meaning that if you take more classes, you'll have more homework. They correspond to one another. In this case, the handouts correspond to the slides. They relate to the slides. A slide, S-L-I-D-E, is one page in a visual presentation, such as a PowerPoint presentation. So what Sean means is that the handouts have information for every slide in the presentation. Sean also says that the slides are on the screen. A screen, S-C-R-E-E-N, is a large piece of white fabric, white material, that hangs on a wall and is used to display pictures and images during a presentation so that many people in the room can see it. When you go to a movie theater, you watch the movie on a large screen. In a meeting, the screen is smaller. Sean says that the first slide shows our agenda for the day. An agenda, A-G-E-N-D-A, is a plan or a list of topics for a meeting. In other words, it's a list of things that will be discussed in a meeting and for how long. The agenda for this lesson is to listen to the formal meeting, discuss the vocabulary, listen to the meeting again, and then do the same things for an informal meeting. Then Sean talks about the specific things on the agenda for this presentation. He says, first, I will begin with an overview. First means before anything else, or to begin. When you want to cook dinner, first you need to buy the ingredients, what you are going to use to cook. So Sean is going to start with an overview. An overview, O-V-E-R-V-I-E-W, is a summary or a broad view of something without very much detail. On the first day of a class, a professor usually provides an overview of what the class will be about. In Sean's presentation, the overview is about how the company's market share has been declining during the past 12 months. The verb to decline, D-E-C-L-I-N-E, means to decrease or to become less or smaller. For example, populations of lions and elephants are declining. In this case, market share is declining, meaning that the company is losing customers. Sean says, then Ms. Graff will present the data she gathered from focus groups. The word then means next or later. So Sean means that Ms. Graff will speak after he finishes the overview. In this lesson, after we discuss the formal meeting, then we'll talk about the informal meeting. Ms. Graff is going to present her data. Data, D-A-T-A, can be any information, facts, or results from a research project. In this case, Hannah's data is about why customers aren't buying the product as much as they used to. Hannah, or Ms. Graff's, data was gathered from the focus groups. To gather, G-A-T-H-E-R, means to collect something or to get something from many sources or places. When you're planning a trip, you might gather information from many different travel books about the place where you're going. Hannah, Ms. Graff, gathered her data from the focus groups. Focus groups are the people who were asked to give or share their opinions about the company's product. Usually a focus group has maybe 5, 10, possibly 15 people in it. It's a way for companies to get information, detailed information about what people think about their products, the things they make. Sean says that Hannah will present her ideas for clarifying the target market. To clarify, C-L-A-R-I-F-Y, something, means to make something clearer or more understandable. If someone doesn't understand something that you say, you may have to clarify it by saying the same idea again using different words. Hannah is clarifying the target market, meaning she will clearly identify who the company should be selling its product to. Sean says that Hannah will be followed by Mr. Hansen. To be followed by someone or something means to finish and to have something else begin. My explanation of the vocabulary will be followed by listening to the formal meeting at a native rate of speech. Hannah being followed by Mr. Hansen means that once Hannah finishes speaking, Mr. Hansen will begin his part of the presentation. Sean says that Mr. Hansen will discuss adapting or changing the product to meet market needs, and that he'll conclude with the main recommendations or suggestions. To conclude, C-O-N-C-L-U-D-E, means to end something. Usually, this is a verb we use with a presentation or a discussion. A speaker might conclude his speech by thanking people for listening, or by asking people to fill out an evaluation form before they leave. That's to conclude, to end a presentation or a discussion. Finally, Sean says that there isn't very much time, so he asks people to hold their questions until the end of the presentation. To hold one's questions means to wait to ask a question until the end of a meeting or presentation. This is very common in formal meetings, but you'll see that in informal meetings, it's more common for people to ask their questions whenever they think of them. That concludes or ends our presentation of the vocabulary for the formal meeting. Let's listen to the meeting again, this time at a normal speed. Thank you, Alex. And thank you to everyone who's here today. As you know, today's presentation is designed to present our recommendations about how Vision Corporation can increase its market share by reaching more of its potential market. You should each have a copy of our handouts in front of you that corresponds to the slides up here on the screen. The first slide shows our agenda for the day. First, I will begin with an overview of how our market share has been declining during the past 12 months and the reasons for that decline. Then Ms. Graff will present the data that she gathered from the focus groups and her ideas for clarifying our target market. She will be followed by Mr. Hansen, who will discuss adapting our product to meet market needs, and he'll conclude with our main recommendations. Since we have limited time today, please hold your questions until the end of the presentation. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of the formal meeting. Now let's see how Sean begins his presentation at an informal meeting. All right, let me start by saying thanks to all of you for your interest in this presentation. Does everyone have the printed handouts? Great. Let's start by taking a look at what we're going to cover today. As you can see in this outline here, we'll start off by talking about how our market share has been falling over the past year and the reasons why. After that, Hannah's going to tell you about the focus groups she conducted and what we can learn from them. She'll also share her ideas about who our target market really should be. We'll finish off with Chris talking about how his team has been able to change our product so that it has more appeal to our customers. Then he'll wrap things up with our team's recommendations. Any questions so far? If you have questions later on during the presentation, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. In the informal meeting, Sean begins by thanking everyone for coming and then asks if everyone has a copy of the handouts or the pieces of paper that have some of the information that will be presented. Then Sean says, let's start by taking a look at what we're going to cover today. Let's start, or let's begin, by taking a look at or examining what we are going to cover today. The verb to cover, C-O-V-E-R, here means to talk about or to discuss. This lesson covers the vocabulary for beginning a presentation. Your English class probably covers, if you have one, grammar, vocabulary, conversation, listening, and so forth. Sean says that he'll start off by talking about how our market share has been falling. To start off is an informal way of saying to begin. For example, when you start off studying English, you should use a basic textbook. So Sean's presentation is going to start off or begin by talking about the falling or declining market share. He says that after that, Hannah will talk about the focus groups. The phrase after that means next, or once something else has finished. In other words, after Sean finishes talking about the falling market share, Hannah will begin talking about the focus groups that she conducted. To conduct, C-O-N-D-U-C-T, something, means to organize or lead something, or to arrange or do something. Hannah conducted the focus groups, meaning that she organized them, invited people to them, and led the discussion. Sean says that Hannah will also share her ideas about the marketplace. To share one's ideas means to say one's ideas or your thoughts and opinions in front of other people. In class, your teacher might ask you to share your ideas about what you read the night before. Sean says that Chris will finish off. To finish off something means to end something or to finish doing something. We often finish off our phone calls by saying, "Talk to you later." In this case, Chris is going to finish off or end the presentation by talking about how his team has been able to change the product so that it has more appeal to the customers. Appeal, A-P-P-E-A-L, is the ability to attract people, or a pleasantness, a niceness that other people like. The appeal of going to a restaurant is that you don't have to cook at home. The appeal is what makes me want to go. It attracts me there. The appeal of a dishwasher might be that it makes your life easier because you don't have to spend as much time washing dishes. Sean says that Chris will wrap things up with the team's recommendations. To wrap, W-R-A-P, things up, has the same meaning as to conclude, to end a presentation or a project, or to finish something. In other words, Chris is going to end the presentation by talking about the team's recommendations. We're going to wrap things up in this lesson by listening to the informal meeting at a native rate of speech. Sean asks the participants to please feel free to interrupt him during the presentation if they have any questions. When we tell someone to please feel free to do something, it's a polite way of asking someone to please do something or to let them know that it's okay to do something. For example, you might say to someone, "Please feel free to call me if you have questions. It's okay for you to call me." The verb interrupt, I-N-T-E-R-R-U-P-T, means to say or do something while another person is talking, so that the other person has to stop speaking. It's usually very rude, not polite, to interrupt another person. But in this case, Sean is asking people to please feel free to interrupt him, meaning that they should ask their questions whenever they have them, not waiting for him to stop speaking first. Let's listen to Sean again as he speaks at a faster, native rate. All right, let me start by saying thanks to all of you for your interest in this presentation. Does everyone have the printed handouts? Great. Let's start by taking a look at what we're going to cover today. As you can see in this outline here, we'll start off by talking about how our market share has been falling over the past year and the reasons why. After that, Hannah's going to tell you about the focus group she conducted and what we can learn from them. She'll also share her ideas about who our target market really should be. We'll finish off with Chris talking about how his team has been able to change our product so that it has more appeal to our customers. Then he'll wrap things up with our team's recommendations. Any questions so far? If you have questions later on during the presentation, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. I hope this lesson has helped you understand how to begin a presentation in formal and informal meetings in English. Our next lesson, number 4, is about giving the actual formal and informal presentations in English. This course has been a production of the Center for Educational Development in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Visit our website at eslpod.com. This course was produced by Dr. Jeff McQuillan and Dr. Lucy Say. Copyright 2007.